Hey everyone, welcome back. And, I was thinking about this the other day. Like, AI is getting so good at sounding smart.
Yeah.
You can ask it almost anything, and it'll spit out a really, really convincing answer.
Totally.
But
yeah.
how do we know
right.
if it's actually right?
Exactly.
So that's exactly what we're going to be diving into today.
Yeah. We're going to be looking at a new tool that OpenAI came out with, and it's called SimpleQA.
SimpleQA? Okay.
And you can think of it kind of like a pop quiz.
Okay.
For those big, large language models, those LLMs everybody's talking about.
Really?
Things like GPT-4.
ChatGPT, yeah.
Which you might know as ChatGPT or like Google's Bard.
Bard, yeah.
Yeah, so...
Okay, so we have these models that can write poems and code.
Yeah.
And even have conversations with us.
Yeah.
But can they get the facts right?
That's right.
Can they nail down, like, cold, hard facts?
That's exactly what SimpleQA wants to find out.
Okay, I'm intrigued already.
It's like, imagine for a second, you have access to, like, all the information in the entire world.
Okay.
But you don't actually understand any of it. You can, like, string words together convincingly.
Yeah, you can write a poem.
Right.
You don't know what year the Titanic sank or...
Yeah, exactly. Or, like, what the capital of a country is.
Right.
You might get those basic facts totally wrong.
Right.
And that's what they call the hallucination problem.
Hallucination problem.
That OpenAI is trying to address.
Okay, so it's not enough that it can be creative.
Right.
It actually has to be accurate.
Yeah.
And SimpleQA is testing for that.
Yes.
By asking very specific factual questions.
Exactly. They use over 4,000 of these questions in the benchmark, and each question has a single undeniable right answer. So there's no opinions, no nuance.
Yeah.
It's just pure factual recall.
So, like, is Tokyo the capital of Japan?
Yeah. Is Tokyo the capital of Japan? What year did the Titanic sink?
Cool.
That sort of thing.
So how does this test actually work?
Yeah.
Does it just give the AI a bunch of multiple choice questions?
So it's actually a bit more sophisticated than that.
Okay.
SimpleQA uses a two-pronged scoring system to assess not only how accurate the AI is, but also something that they call restraint.
Restraint?
Yeah, what does that even mean?
I was going to say, what does that even mean when we're talking about AI?
When we're talking about AI. So restraint basically means that the AI knows when to say, I don't know.
Okay.
And one of the key scores is something called correct given attempted, which only takes into account the questions that the AI actually chose to answer.
Oh, so it's like, it's better to not answer than to
just guess.
Yeah, okay.
So it's like, imagine a student
right.
who only answers the questions on a test that they know the answer to.
Instead of just randomly filling in bubbles.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so that's correct, given attempted.
Correct, given attempted.
And then there's overall correctness, which is just...
Right, and overall correctness is just how many did it get right out of the total.
Yeah, okay.
But it gets even more interesting because then they take those two scores and they combine them into something called the F-score.
The F-score. Okay, break that down for me.
So the F-score is designed to find that sweet spot between being right and knowing your limits.
Okay.
So it rewards the AI for being both accurate and knowing when to hold back.
So an AI that gets every single question right that it answers, but only answers half of them, can still get a pretty good score.
Because that shows a level of self-awareness that's really valuable.
Okay. And
then on top of that, they even have a penalty system built in.
A penalty system? Like, what does that mean?
So, like, wrong answers lose more points than unanswered ones.
Okay.
So this really encourages the AI to not just blindly guess.
Yeah.
It's much better to admit you don't know than to risk being confidently incorrect.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Especially when we think about, AI being used for things like medical diagnoses or...
Exactly, or giving financial advice.
Yeah, you don't want to just making stuff up.
Absolutely, and that's where these early results get really interesting and a bit concerning.
Okay, spill the tea. How are these super smart AIs actually doing on this factual test?
Well, even the most advanced models, including GPT-4, haven't been able to crack 50% accuracy.
Ooh, that's not a great grade.
No, it's not.
So what's tripping them up?
Yeah, what's going on?
Is it just like a matter of needing more data?
So it's actually a bit more complex than that.
Okay.
Remember those adversarial questions we mentioned?
Yeah.
The ones that are designed to be extra tricky.
Like the ones that are really specific about a certain historical detail or something like that?
Exactly. So those are proving to be a major stumbling block.
Go ahead.
It seems that even with massive amounts of data, these models are still having a hard time representing and retrieving that very specific knowledge.
So it's not just about knowing stuff.
Right.
It's about knowing how to access the right stuff.
Exactly.
At the right time.
That's it.
Okay.
And then there's also the issue of overconfidence.
Overconfidence.
Yeah.
Oh, like that chatbot. They give me those totally bogus directions.
Exactly.
But acted like it was the best in the world.
Yeah. So it turns out that some of these large language models are actually prone to giving incorrect answers with really high certainty.
So they think they know, but they don't.
They think they know even when they don't.
Okay. That's a little unsettling.
Yeah.
Especially if we're going to be relying on them for more and more important tasks.
Yeah.
So where do we go from here?
Right.
I mean, is the AI revolution just going to hit a wall because it can't pass a basic fact check?
Well, not necessarily. While these early SimpleQA results are a bit of a wake-up call, they also point us toward a very specific area for improvement, and that is calibration. So calibration is all about, like, helping AI become more self-aware.
Okay.
Especially when it comes to, like, its own knowledge.
Okay, so it's not just about, like, what the AI knows, but, like, how well it knows what it knows.
Exactly.
That's pretty meta.
It is pretty meta.
Yeah.
And SimpleQA actually uses a couple of methods to measure this.
Okay.
One is called stated confidence.
Okay.
Where the AI actually has to give a percentage alongside its answer.
Okay.
That indicates how certain it is.
So instead of just saying the capital of France is Paris.
Right.
It'll say the capital of France is Paris, 95% confidence.
Yeah, exactly. That way we can see if its confidence actually, like, matches up with its accuracy.
Right.
And then there's the repeated answers method.
Repeated answers, okay.
Which is kind of like a cross-examination for the AI. So the idea is...
Does it bring out a tiny gavel and everything?
A tiny gavel, but the idea is to ask the AI the same question multiple times and see if it gives the same answer every time.
Okay.
If it does, then it's probably more confident in that answer.
Right.
And it's like, if you ask me what the capital of France is,
yeah,
I'm going to say Paris every time.
Paris, yeah, of course.
But if you ask me some super obscure historical fact,
right,
I might waver a little bit.
Yeah, or like completely draw a blank.
Exactly. Yeah. And that wavering, that uncertainty is a valuable signal.
Right.
It tells us that the AI is at least aware that it might not know everything.
Okay. So how are they doing on this calibration front? Are they good at knowing what they don't know?
Research is still ongoing.
Yeah.
But early results suggest there's a lot more work to do.
Okay.
Even large language models tend to overestimate how much they know.
They're a little overconfident.
They are.
Even when they're getting the answer wrong.
Even when they're wrong.
Okay, so we're not quite at the point where we can just rely on these AIs to be these, like, all-knowing machines.
Not yet.
Not yet. But why is this calibration thing such a big deal?
So think about the potential applications here.
Okay.
Imagine a medical AI that can analyze patient data, but it can also accurately tell you how confident it is in its diagnosis.
Oh, so instead of just like giving a potentially wrong diagnosis,
right,
it could say, hey, I'm 80% sure this is what's going on.
Right.
But you should probably double check with an actual doctor.
Exactly. Or imagine like financial AI that could manage your investments, but also flag areas where it needs more information or where a human should step in.
Right.
That kind of self-awareness could really change the game.
It's like we're talking about AI developing a sense of humility.
Yeah.
Like knowing its limitations.
That's a great way to put it.
Not being afraid to ask for help.
And that's the kind of AI that I think we could really learn to trust.
Yeah.
We need AI that's not just smart, but also smart about how smart it is.
Right.
You know?
Okay, so SimpleQA might seem like just a test about, random trivia.
Right.
But it's really getting at something much bigger.
It really is. It's pushing the boundaries of AI self-awareness.
Yeah.
Which could have really huge implications for how we use AI in our lives.
And as AI gets more and more advanced,
right,
that kind of self-awareness is going to be key.
Yeah, we don't want to end up in a world where we're just taking orders from overconfident machines.
Right.
We need to understand its limitations and its potential pitfalls.
Okay, so let's bring this back down to earth for a second.
Okay.
What can our listeners actually do with this knowledge about SimpleQA and AI calibration?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
I think the biggest takeaway here is to just be more discerning.
Okay.
When you're interacting with AI.
So don't just blindly believe what a chatbot tells you.
Exactly. Even if it sounds super confident, ask questions. Look for inconsistencies.
Right.
Don't be afraid to double check things, especially if it's something important.
Okay.
And if an AI seems really overconfident, that's a red flag.
Yeah.
Be extra cautious.
It's kind of like how we've all learned to be critical of information we see online.
Exactly.
Not everything on the internet is true.
Right.
And the same thing goes for what AI tells you.
Totally.
So we need to develop that same kind of critical thinking.
Yeah.
When it comes to AI.
Especially as it becomes more and more integrated into our lives.
Okay. That's really great practical advice.
Yeah.
But I want to circle back to that idea of AI self-awareness.
Yeah.
It's pretty mind-blowing.
It is.
What are the long-term implications of that?
That's where things get really interesting.
Oh.
If we can create AI that can really understand its own knowledge, who knows what else it could be capable of?
Like, could it start setting its own goals?
Yeah.
Making its own decisions?
Yeah.
Becoming .well.conscious?
Those are some big questions that philosophers and scientists have been thinking about for a long time.
Right.
And they're questions that are becoming even more important as AI keeps getting more advanced.
It's like we're on the verge of creating a whole new kind of intelligence.
Yeah.
Something that we don't really fully understand. Yeah, we might not be able to fully control. Yeah, it is kind of exhilarating and also a little terrifying.
Right.
To think about where this could all lead.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing to think about how we're essentially changing what it means to be intelligent.
Yeah.
And that's exactly why these tools like SimpleQA are so important. They give us a way to really measure and understand these advancements in AI, to make sure we're not just running headfirst into something we don't fully understand.
Yeah, it's like we're building this roadmap for the future of AI.
Right.
But we're also like figuring out the rules of the road as we go.
Exactly. And those rules are going to be so important.
Yeah.
As AI becomes more and more part of our everyday lives, we need to be prepared for the ethical questions and the societal impact.
It's not enough to just make sure it's accurate, right?
Right.
We need to make sure that it's being used for good.
Yeah. We need to make sure that it's aligned with human values, that it's used to actually make our lives better and not to control us or manipulate us.
Okay, so those are the big picture questions, but let's zoom back in.
Yeah.
If our listeners are going to walk away from this deep dive with one thing, what should it be?
So I think the biggest takeaway is this.
Okay.
Be an active participant in this whole AI revolution.
Okay.
Don't just passively consume it.
Right.
Engage with it critically.
So don't be afraid to ask questions.
Yeah.
Challenge the assumptions.
Exactly.
Demand transparency.
Right.
We all have a role to play in this.
So it's not about being scared of AI or trying to stop its progress.
Yeah.
It's about steering it in the right direction.
Exactly. We need to make sure that AI is used to benefit all of humanity.
Well said. Okay, well, I think that's about all the time we have for today. It's been a really fascinating conversation. And I hope our listeners learned a lot about AI and how important it is to be able to check the facts.
Yeah. We covered so much ground today.
We did.
From the really technical details of SimpleQA all the way to the kind of mind-blowing idea of AI becoming self-aware.
It's really amazing to think about.
It is, and it's just the beginning.
Yeah.
The world of AI is changing so fast.
It's fast.
Who knows what's next?
Yeah, who knows what amazing discoveries are right around the corner.
Right, or what challenges we might face.
Yeah.
So until our next deep dive.
Yeah.
Stay curious, everyone. Stay informed.
Stay engaged.
And most importantly, stay engaged, because the future of AI is in our hands.